Well, which way can this go? Four people in contention for the championship, and it's the man in fourth position in the championship that heads off the front row of the grid. That's Josh Bannister ahead of Ryan Hitchcock. Lucas Brown in third position on row number 2 ahead of Kyle Payne. And then in fifth we have Harrison Crosby, and then Carter Brown in sixth. On row number 4 it's going to be Harrison McKay on bike number 61 ahead of the 66 of Ronnie Harris on the outside of row 4. Then it's Ollie Horner next up in 9th, and rounding at the top 10 is Holly Harris on bike number 15. Ben Jolliffe is just missing out in the top 10. And then in 6th and 11th spot, and then 12th spot is Finnan Wedity on the 1-1-2 machine. Luke Schofield is in 13th spot, unlucky for some but not for Luke, and ahead of him, or ahead of Sullivan Mounsey in 14th spot. Cameron Sewell is next up in 15th, and then Jacob Stevenson in 16th spot. And on the last row of the grid is Aston Dean on the 1-3-7 ahead of Philippe Sorak on bike number 75 in 18th.
Well, the grid is set then. This, one of the closest championships we had. Harrison Crosby just 2 points ahead of Kyle Payne. Harrison Crosby will be 5th on the grid. Kyle Payne ahead in 4th place. Ryan Hitchcock, who is 3rd in the championship and 23 points back from Crosby, starts in 2nd. And Josh Bannister, he has a lot of work to do. He's 41 points back with 327 points in total. But he put himself on pole position for this one. So the guys in chase are on the front row. Your championship leader starts in 5th place. It couldn't be any more exciting. Here we go for the first race of the final weekend, where we are going to crown our MiniGP50 champion at Tattershall. Who is it going to be? Green flag goes up and we are away. Josh Bannister leads us down towards turn number 1. It looks like Harrison Crosby trying to dive down the inside to take 3rd, but Josh Bannister has had a perfect start and he leads us through turn number 2. I think Lucas Brown got into 2nd place. I believe Harrison Crosby is in 3rd as they make their way now up towards turn number 5 for the first time. Everyone through nice and safely, which is great to see. Our championship leaders are still all going round, which is good. So the fight is on. Here we go. Josh Bannister, a little bit of a wobble out of turn number 7 there, and he's invited some pressure now as they come through turn 8. We begin the long run round turn number 9, flat out through there, and then the run down towards turn number 1. Will Josh Bannister still be leading by the time we get there? He is. Lucas Brown is 2nd. Hitchcock is in 3rd place. Carter Brown 4th. Our championship leader Crosby in 5th. Then it is Payne, Harris, McKay, Holly Harris and Ollie Horner.
Carter Brown has shown some sort of form we've not seen from him all season long. And 4th spot, he's got his elbows out in the first couple of laps. He ran off track coming out of turn at number 4, but still holds 4th position. Harrison Crosby and Kyle Payne in 5th and 6th position seem to be a little bit hesitant in his opening couple of laps, and you can't blame them. They are 1st and 2nd in the championship and will not want to crash in the opening stages of the race. But Ryan Hitchcock is applying the pressure to Lucas Brown in 2nd position. Carter Brown in 4th spot. He has nothing to lose, so Carter Brown will mix it up with your championship contenders, who are Bannister, Hitchcock, Crosby and Payne. Lucas Brown is in 5th position in the championship. He can't win it. He's too far behind in the championship, but he will be going all out for race victories as well, as he's putting pressure on the number 2 of Josh Bannister. This is a scorching race at the early stages of the MiniGP50's race number 1. Harrison Crosby in 5th is looking round the outside of Carter Brown. Can he get the switchback in towards turn number 7? No, he can't. Carter Brown going defensive with his defensive riding. This is opening a gap towards the top 3. Carter Brown looks over his shoulder, sees that Crosby nearly made the move up the inside, but not making it stick just yet. It's a matter of when, not if, for Harrison Crosby.
Well, there's live championship is this. Crosby on 379, Payne on 376, Hitchcock on 361, Bannister on 352. Our 2 championship leaders right together on circuit. In fact, they couldn't be any closer. Crosby in 5th, Payne in 6th place, and he is only, he's within 2 tenths. So this getting very, very close in MiniGP50. The title is on the line, and Carl Payne almost having a look up the inside there of Crosby, who's going to be getting ever so frustrated now behind Carter Brown in 4th place. He's going to be getting more and more frustrated with every single turn because he is being delayed here. And looking to the outside now as they go around turn 8. He leaves the door open though for Payne to try and get down the inside. A well-constructed move there from Crosby, who took a wider line through turn 8, performed the switchback, and he's into 4th place. Was Carl Payne able to get through and go into 5th? I don't believe he was. No, he wasn't. So Payne sits in 6th place for the time being, and now he needs to get past Carter Brown as quickly as possible. The situation out front, Josh Bannister leads from Lucas Brown, but Ryan Hitchcock in 3rd has just set the fastest lap as he chases down the 2 leaders.
I just saw it in the commentary box. Wendell Payne made a move on Brown, but nearly clipped the back of the number 37 rider. There seems to be a ready to go slow out there on the track. Not sure who that could be for the time being. Might be one of the riders further down the field. But with 8 laps remaining as they come across start finish line now, still Bannister from Brown from Hitchcock. Hitchcock is flying at the moment, setting fastest lap of the race. He's the fastest rider on the circuit for the moment. As I say that, Crosby comes across the line. He is the fastest rider on track at the moment, a 48.3. So we've got to keep an eye out on Harrison Crosby, your championship leader, trying to bridge the gap towards the top 3 of Bannister, Brown and Hitchcock. So Bannister and Hitchcock have a bit to lose, but they don't have as much to lose as Crosby and as Payne because they are further behind in the championship. So Bannister is 41 points behind Harrison Crosby coming into this race, and Ryan Hitchcock was a further 23 points behind Harrison Crosby. So those two have everything to play for in 1st and 3rd, but Josh Bannister is soaking up the pressure from Lucas Brown for the time being. Ryan Hitchcock is applying the pressure to Lucas Brown, who's applying it to Josh Bannister, and Harrison Crosby is not catching the leaders. Harrison Crosby is dropping ever further back. He's a couple of tenths slower than Ryan Hitchcock last time round, but this is how it stands at the time being. Crosby will be on 381 points. He will extend his gap over Kyle Payne to 4 points as he sits on 376. Hitchcock will move ever closer to the top 2 on 361, and Bannister will be bringing himself back into contention on 352 points respectively.
Well, that is the situation. The situation is getting closer and closer with every single lap. Josh Bannister leading. He comes through the final corner over the start-finish line now and in towards turn number 1. We can see Lucas Brown in 2nd place. Ryan Hitchcock is in 3rd place. The gap between the top 3, 1.3 seconds at the moment. The gap back to Harrison Crosby in 4th is 3 seconds at the moment. Now Carl Payne in 6th place really needs to clear Carter Brown here. He is being delayed by Carter Brown, and it is not doing him any favours at all in terms of the championship. Since getting past Carter Brown...
sorry about that, Chris. Brown ran on the grass coming out of turn at number 7 and nearly slipped off the bike. He stayed on it, but he's now under pressure from Ryan Hitchcock.
Yep, well, good spot there, and it's allowed Josh Bannister to actually build a 1.3 second advantage over the rest of the field. Now Lucas Brown still in 2nd, Ryan Hitchcock in 3rd. I have to say though, Carter Brown is holding on to Harrison Crosby, so Carter Brown actually growing into this race here. He's getting faster and faster, and he is no longer really delaying Carl Payne. He's holding on to Harrison Crosby, your championship leader, and keeping him very honest, and we may even see Carter Brown challenge the championship leader a little bit later on. They are very close together. Through the right-hander they go, now into the very tight left-hander at turn number 7. Up towards the final corner they go. A brief look to the outside for Kyle Payne, and no mistakes from Carter Brown in the middle of 2 riders fighting for the championship. An unusual situation for him. Just 4 laps remaining, and Carl Payne now looking to the inside of Carter Brown. Brave on the brakes. Carter Brown brave around the outside, but unfortunately he just ran a little bit too wide there, and Payne is now into 5th. So the championship is going to change again. That means it was 2 points between Crosby and Payne. They are in 5th and 6th place, which means it will grow by 1 point. So there will be 3 points between the top 2 in the championship, who lay 5th and who lay 4th and 5th on track respectively. So in fact it's going to grow by 2 points, which means it'll be a 4-point advantage, I believe. But we have a live update coming for you any second now, so don't go anywhere. Live updates coming all weekend long, and we're going to need them because I believe, Liam, this one's going to the very final race.
And we hope so indeed. I can't imagine this battle for 4th will be staying the way it is for the time being. Kyle Payne all over the back of his championship rival Harrison Crosby with only 2.5 laps remaining. They've both dropped. Carter Brown, was there a move for 4th? Yes, there was. Kyle Payne is now up into 4th spot ahead of Harrison Crosby. That is going to change the complexion of this championship dramatically. If it stays the way it is, they will be equal on points. Yeah. Equal on points. Kyle Payne is now in 4th ahead of Harrison Crosby. Can Crosby retaliate with 2 and a bit laps remaining? This is absolutely epic for this MiniGP50 championship in 2019. So Bannister still leads away from Brown, from Hitchcock, Payne, and then Crosby, your top 5. If it stays the way it is, Crosby will still lead the championship, but will be equal on points with Kyle Payne due to more race wins. Hitchcock will be a further 12 points behind, or a further 18 points behind the pair, and then Bannister will be 27 points back, so he will be closing the gap by 13 points in this championship. But it's not all over yet. Hitchcock is all over the back of Kyle Payne. Is he all over the back of him? Is he alongside him? He's nearly alongside Kyle Payne, so this is anyone's race for the victory. This topping changing every single lap as they make their way across that finish line with a lap to go, Chris.
Well, I can tell you what, if Carl Payne can make this move on Hitchcock can make this move on Brown, he'll close the gap to 14 points. So this is a really important battle we have going on here with Ryan Hitchcock trying to get past Brown for 2nd place. Bannister doing a fantastic job out front. He's really brought himself back into contention here. We are on the final lap of the race, so just half a lap remaining, Liam, and Josh Bannister in the lead.
Josh Bannister has played it cool and collective throughout the entire race, but what is cool and collective is a battle for 2nd. Hitchcock's looking up the inside of Payne but not making a move yet, but the number 2 of Josh Bannister has a bit of a moment over the bump behind the lap marker of Cameron Silva. It comes across the line. Josh Bannister sees the check flag, picks up race number 1, race victory in the MiniGP50s. Lucas Brown in 2nd, Ryan Hitchcock in 3rd. Who will it be for 4th? It's Kyle Payne. Kyle Payne holds off Crosby for 4th position. Crosby drops to 5th, which means going into our final 2 races tomorrow, Kyle Payne and Harrison Crosby are equal on points. So great ride all the way down the order from every single rider. So it's going to be Josh Bannister who takes the race win ahead of Lucas Brown. Ryan Hitchcock had to settle for 3rd position, and 4th it was Kyle Payne, who now ties on points with Harrison Crosby in the championship. Carter Brown valiantly held off Payne and Crosby throughout most of the race, but dropped back to 6th in the closing stages. And then Ronnie Harrison 7th, Harrison McKay in 8th, Ollie Horner in 9th, Holly Harrison 10th, Finn and Werrity in 11th, and then Ben Jolliffe in 12th spot. Out of Cameron Schill, Luke Schofield, Aston Dean, Jacob Stevenson and Philippe Surowik in 17th, and Sylvan Moundy was your only non-finisher, Chris.
Well, there are the points. Crosby and Payne are tied. Hitchcock coming into this race was 23 points back. He is now only 18 points back, and Josh Bannister has done himself a huge amount of favours. He was 41 points back. He is now only 27 points back. He's closed the gap by 14 points. He is now well in contention to fight for the lead of the championship. He is on pole position for every race this weekend, so pole position for him in both races tomorrow. It is all to play for. Any one of those 4 riders, you have to say, can go and win this championship, and with what we've just seen there, all 4 of them would be deserved champions.